After the game, the Bears Den is your spot. More on that in a minute. But first, downstairs with our post-game press conference with Troy Mann.
What'd you make? At one point, I thought you had like 3 goals on 10 shots, something like that.
Well, a couple things. I mean, shots for is not something we even worry about. But I thought we missed the net a lot tonight. We had some redirects. We had some just some near misses. I thought Boyer could have had a hat trick alone based on missing the net. There was one power play in the first. There was one in the second there late that he missed. So I just thought that, I'm not sure what our shots at temp were, but certainly we got the best shooting percentage in the American Hockey League. I mean, that's for sure. So, I don't really worry about that. As I like to say, I worry about the grade A's opportunities, and once the stats come out in terms of our analytics, I think we would have certainly had enough chances. It wasn't one of those games where we just didn't have any chances. We had lots of good looks, just shots on goal doesn't look great.
Had Copley the last couple weekends, but beyond Copley, what's been the difference the last 2 weekends?
Well, I think that certainly our defense and goaltending position has been upgraded. I mean, it's not a secret right now. I mean, Gilbert has had a huge influence back there in terms of replacing Bowie's minutes, and he's been excellent. And then obviously now the last 3 weeks since Copley's came on board, in terms of the goaltending matchups, it's what we maybe envisioned back in October for VTech, where he gets last night's start and was excellent in the second period, but we're managing his games, especially in these 3-3s, and so, and on top of that, we're in a pretty good playoff race here. So it's unfortunate we weren't able to get at least a point on Friday night there, but I would say Friday was probably our worst game of the weekend in terms of how we need to play to be successful.
But this is still a 4-point swing with Providence. This incredible race just continues to be incredible.
Yeah, I thought 95 points might get you in, but I don't know. It's like crazy to think about that. But we just got to keep winning our weeks, and I've preached it for 3 years. I talked to the players Friday after the game. You lose to Lehigh because you were right there, and if you win in regulation, then all of a sudden you're closer to them as well. And now the point spread with them is kind of a little bit wider than you would have hoped on Friday. But at the end of the day, after the game, I said to the guys, we just got to respond and win the next 2 games. It's more difficult when you lose the first game of the week, but now we've won the week, and we've gained because Bridgeport went 2-2, and they lost their game in hand, which was against Providence, which helped, right? So it's going to probably go down to the last weekend, and we just got to keep winning hockey games here.
Now, Phoenix Copley, another fantastic game for him. When he's facing as many shots as he got tonight, how does his play affect the team's mentality throughout the game?
Well, I think from a coaching perspective, and I'm sure the team, the individual players, the same thing. You feel good on the bench that he's going to make every stop. When a goal goes in, you're going, geez, I can't believe they scored on him. That's kind of my mindset with Copley and that makes you feel good from a coaching perspective. Let's face it, the 2 best teams in the NHL got the 2 best goalies, Holtby in Washington and in Minnesota. I mean, you need goaltending. So, he was excellent. Providence has a little bit different offensive philosophy than we do. They like to get the puck low to high and just throw it on net, and that's what they were doing. They toss as many pucks on net as they can, and they try and get 2 bodies in front and hope that it hits something. And that's just a little bit different mentality from us. But then again, our skill set's a little bit better than theirs in terms of how the teams are built. So, but it's obviously very nice to have a Copley back there right now.
Now, next week on Sunday, you have a big matchup against Bridgeport coming up, but you have to play Hartford twice before then. How are you able to get the team set up to play both Bridgeport and Hartford equally? Well,
I think right now all we're worried about is just winning our weeks, and it doesn't matter who the opponent is. Now, obviously, last night against Binghamton, the standings tell you that you should win that hockey game, but that's not how it works. So you still got to play, and we responded excellent last night. That first period they hardly had the puck the whole first period, and we were up 4-0. So, Hartford's they're in one right now. They got smoked all 3 games this weekend, and we got to be ready to go because Saturday's game is just as important as Sunday's. Now, we talked to the players. We left them sleep in today with the time change and everything, and but one of our messages today was let's raise the bar on Sunday here. Let's raise the bar, and I thought it was going to be a difficult game because they didn't play Friday, and those are the things you look at as a coach. The scheduling, and all of a sudden Providence doesn't play Friday, and you're in Lehigh, and then you're traveling to Binghamton. You can call that a little bit of a trap game, even though it's probably the most important game of the season, and that's why they had the energy early. The first 10 minutes, they were taking it to us, and they should have. I mean, they didn't play Friday. So those are the things you look at. Next week, it'll be fair. Bridgeport has a 3-3 just like us, but we'll have to raise the bar a little bit on next Sunday here because obviously we've had difficulty in that building this year. We're 0-3, and then it's going to be an important game.
Injury comebacks. How are you managing the roster, especially like a guy like Zajac has a great week, scratching those?
Yeah, it's difficult. I mean, it's nice to have some bodies around. I mean, we've certainly added, the two goals, in the last month from the Caps' perspective was to upgrade our goaltending and get some depth defensemen. We've used, I think, 14 defense this year, and 3 or 4 of them were PTOs. So we've done that, and consequently we have some extra bodies around. But, the ATO kids probably won't see any action. The plan, much like last year, was we'll bring them in for 2 weeks, and then we'll evaluate after the 2 weeks. They'll have the option of going home to start their off season, or if they want to stick around and be part of it, that's, we'll do that as well. Now, the Gustafson kid is a little bit intriguing because he's a center. And obviously we're making Walker a center because we lack some depth there. And then Kelly Zajac is a center too. So, obviously there's a little bit of loyalty there to the group that I've been with. Some guys 3 years, some guys 2 years. So, as well as Kelly Zajac he's been dynamite for us. If Walker's healthy and ready to go, I'm not going to sit Walker. And that's just the way it's going to be. So, we'll continue to manage that and see how it goes. And, and Gaisley and Bowie should be available next weekend as well.
Garrett Mitchell from the get-go, with physicality, speed, intensity, how proud of him is it that he's able to get that?
Well, this is the character of the kid, and I know he scored 15 goals there when I was the assistant coach, and he's a 10 to 12 goal scorer, heart and soul kind of guy, excellent on the PK, and every time we need a game or I need a spark, I usually put him with Stevenson and Mitchell. I've done that a lot the last 2 seasons, and did it again last night, and they were great, and nice to see him get rewarded. You're right, because those guys, those heart and soul guys that pay the price with their physicality and their shot blocking, sometimes they don't get the accolades as they some of the maybe more skilled players or the goaltending position. So nice to see Mitchie get the game winner, and we gave him the good, with the good, bad, and the ugly tonight, just for his hard work and for his game winner as well. Good. Thanks. We'll see you next week.